talking about brute force. We are talking about the second, at least. Recursion with memorization. It's easy. In this way, we are pruning recursion tree with the help of mammal array and reducing the size of the recursion tree up to n. Size of the recursion tree. The depth of the recursion tree can go out to recursion with memory. So we start with 0.
Stadia travels across screens. Woo! What's that? Free your mind at the one place for all the ways we play. Stadia!
Just Dance，噔噔噔噔，
什么鬼？给我看一下啊！Just Dance，这最新版本吗？
都2020，那还不是最新版本
哦。
2019新版的 Switch， 电池可以达到4.5到9个小时。要玩就玩全套，对不对？健身环 配套使用，其乐无穷哦，男女老少皆宜。心动不如行动，同志们，现在开始下单吧，299只要299。我适合去搞电视购物的，299你买不了吃亏，你买不了。今天晚上就开，今晚就玩。
好啊。
之前当当在日本的时候，准备在日本给我买的，后来当时成熟的我说，干嘛把时间用来打游戏呢？
放屁！我当时跟你说，哎，老公，我给你买了点药，对身体好的什么的。他说，哦，特别冷淡。然后我说，老公，不然我给你买个 Switch 吧。哇，啪啪啪发了7、8条语音给我，气死我了。
不要你不要买了，
那是经过内心的挣扎吧。
但是我是还是跟你说我不要买，对不对？然后这次要买是你要买的，对不对？
那倒是啊，因为我送给你生日礼物嘛，提前送嘛。你看这个脸上洋溢着幸福的笑容。你生日我都送你什么礼物？投其所好。我生日嘞，你送我什么？
投其所好吗？你不喜欢包吗？包治百病。
今晚就可以玩了。健身环长啥样？
是那个游戏碟。
它还自带一个游戏碟。
对，
开心吗，柳哥？
开心就跟当当生日收到我送的包一样开心。说明你也非常开心，对不对？对不对嘛？你怎么不说话了？
对。
对呀，对吧？一样的嘛，大家都收到自己喜欢的东西。iPhone 就希望它在我身上炸。
我听到你骨头的声音了。你看跳广场舞啊，打到别人了。
黑五已经过去了，大家有没有买到自己喜欢的东西呢？我们家
组队做项目吧，他拿了3等奖哦。
凌晨加班到3点才搞了个3等奖，那有多弱啊？
还行吧，刘哥，棒棒的，
棒棒的。
还拿了个奖，什么奖？给我看看。
乐高。
去宠物商店，天还是非常亮的，然后好多人都很羡慕。
Alright, so we have about 220 videos to go. We've done about 30 videos. If you have not checked out the GitHub, check out the GitHub. I have not been that good with code samples. My first videos don't have code samples, but I think it's very necessary for learning to have clear code samples, well named, well commented for teaching purposes. In my opinion, I don't really like comments in code because when code changes, the comments won't change. But anyway, also I will be gone for about 4 or 5 days. I'm going to be in Germany visiting a friend, and I hope to make a video there. As always, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to make this the premier resource, one of the best resources for preparing for software engineering interviews. Obviously, I can't build like a brand or thing like LeetCode or like Geeks for Geeks because they're huge websites. They control the infrastructure that dominates this space of prep and all the information that we learn from. But I want to make a vast resource with tons of helpful videos with clear explanations to make this process a little less hellish. So let's get into our problem, climbing stairs, and I'll see you later. Okay, so today's question is climbing stairs. This is a fundamental dynamic programming problem, all about subprobleming, always all about subprobleming. And what the question asks is if I'm given a certain amount of steps to traverse. If I want 2-step and then I've got to traverse 2 steps, what I can do is I can take a 1-step and a 1-step. And then 2-step, that's how I do 3 steps. If I need to do 4 steps, the number of unique ways is 5. What do those steps? 4 steps. So how are we going to approach this problem? As always, Tushar, take it away.
We will have to use dynamic programming to solve this.
What you need to understand about this problem is, if you've done this problem, it's simple. But if you've never seen this problem before, what do we need to ask ourselves? How do we need to think about this? We know dynamic
dynamic programming because yeah, the title of the video said that and the thumbnail said that, but how would you approach this in an interview? So first I would ask you, what does it mean to take a certain amount of steps from a certain point? What does that mean? What does that do to our overarching problem? And how can we relate those reductions to subproblems to a global answer? So, okay, stay with me. What I want to do is look at the top-down approach, and then we'll see why we need to use dynamic programming. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the top-down approach. No memoization at all. We're going to see why we need the memoization, but I need to take 6 steps. All that we need to understand is what is my choice? What is my choice in reduction of subproblems? So at every step, if I take a 1-step or a 2-step, no matter what I do, if I'm at a certain position, what can I do? I can take a 1-step or a 2-step. Here's what happens if I have 6 steps to take, and I can take a 2-step and a 1-step. The answer to this subproblem is going to be the sum of the possibility trees, what those yield, if I take a 2-step or a 1-step. If I take a 2-step, we branch. What does that look like? If I take a 2-step, that means I have 4 steps left to take. If I take a 1-step, that means I have 5 steps left to take. Let me label these. So the answer to 6 steps, the between they're negative, and go down. Those are our base cases, f of 0 and f of a negative number. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep reducing, we're going to keep expressing our or 1 problem. Our code is going to go depth first. We're going to solve all these subproblems down here before we get here. We'll see how that plays into memory. Answer to 3-step and the ways.
The course that MIT is offering with NASA, Boeing, and other partners will bring together knowledge, examples, and a crystallized way of understanding where systems engineering and systems architecture
will do themselves as we're coming back up, and then we'll have the answer for our overall call. So what we need to do here is we need to break down the 2-step. So the answer to the 2-step is the sum between if we take 0 steps and if we take 1 step. So the thing is, we see a base case here. For 0, we already know the answer to this. So the thing is, this 0 is just going to return, to our caller the amount 1, because the amount of ways we can make 0 steps is 1 if we can take 1 or 2 steps. We return 1. So after we return 1, okay, that's great. So now let's break down the 3. And now let's break down both of these guys. And notice, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 1. 4 minus 2, 4 minus 1. So that's what we're doing. 3 minus 2, 3 minus 1. 2 minus 2, 2 minus 1. We're just expressing our decisions at each point, and that's going to build up to our global answer. So what we need to do here is let's break down these levels further. Again, we're going breadth first. This is not how the code would do it. It would go down this tree first. We can either take the 1-step first or the 2-step first. It doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to break all of these down further. All right, and so now we see that we've broken down it a level further. We've taken our 2-step, we've taken our 1-step. So now we see we have a ton of base cases that panned out here. A ton of base cases turned out to happen. So if we go negative, we know that the amount of ways is 0. So what we do is we return 0 upwards. And let me get rid of those plus signs just for readability, because we get the point now that it's an addition. So what we need to do is return 0. This returns 0 because that's this base case. So this 0 returns 1 because the amount of ways we can make 0 steps is 1 way. We do nothing. And now let's fill out all of our other base cases and what they return. And I want you to notice a lot of these base cases have panned out. When we go negative, we return 0. When we get 0, we return 1, as you can see. But we still have more subproblems to solve. So let's go through our final tier. And again, we'll see why this is very bad and inefficient until we memorize it. So let's continue and finish off these subproblems like these 1s and these 2s. Okay, and so what we want to do is we panned out all of our base cases, so let's do what all of these base cases will yield. If we go negative, we return 0. There's no ways we can make negative steps. If we need to make 0 steps, then the amount of ways to make 0 steps is 1. We just do nothing. So now let's pan out all of these base cases, and do you see this recursion returns upwards. We keep going. What's the answer? We ask another call. We ask it, can you give me an answer? Can you give me an answer? Can you give me an answer? Until we have an answer. When we have an answer, they go backwards. They're like, hey, I have this answer. And then the guy who just got his answer, he's like, oh wait, yeah, let me calculate my answer. He tells it to the guy above him. So this is gonna go upwards. And eventually we'll get to our top solution here. So what we need to do is, let's show all of our base cases returning. So now what we do is, let's do our addition upwards. So the subproblem answer for 1 is 0 plus 1. So the answer is 1. 1 returns 1. So everywhere that we see a 1 answering, we can return a 1 because we know the answer to the subproblem is 1. The code would actually do it. Let's just do it for speed's sake. And so now we see the answer to the 2 subproblem is 1 plus 1. The answer to the 2 subproblem is 2. So now let's go through the whole other tree and fill that out. And do you see how all of these returns are slowly building us upwards? So now, the answer to the 3 subproblem, we're going to need that for the 4 subproblem. The answer to the 3 subproblem is 2 plus 1, which is 3. So the answer to the 3 subproblem is 3. Let's return that upwards. All right, and so now let's finish off the other 3's and get them to return 3. And this is a critical realization I want you to make. Do you see how the 4 subproblem has its answer? Do you see how this 4 subproblem is over here? And do you see how this 3 subproblem? We're going to look at that shortly, but let's finish this. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So the answer to the 4 subproblem is 5. So let's fill out this 4 subproblem. So now we have the answer for if we took a 1 step. So what we need to do is we need to finish off this 5. The answer to the 5 subproblem is 3 plus 5, which is 8. And I have not even checked this, but the answer to the 6 subproblem is going to be 13. Let me double check. And excellent. So the answer to the 6 subproblem is 13. I just ran the test case on it. So what we notice is, first off, I want to establish, yes, this is like the 5th. But aside from that, what we notice is that we are duplicating subproblems. I want you to notice, in a depth-first manner, we're going to go down here and solve all these subproblems. I will have the answer for the 0 subproblem. I'll have the answer for 1. I'll have the answer for 2. I'll have the answer for 3. I'll have the answer for 4. Why am I answering 2 over here? Why am I answering 4? Why am I answering 1? Why am I repeating subproblems in this tree? So the problem is this code runs in exponential time. This code runs in 2 to the n time. Why is that? Unmemoized, what we're going to do is at each of these nodes, we're going to definitely make 2 forkings. We're going to fork twice. So the depth of the recursion tree at maximum, do you see? Subtract 1, subtract 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The depth of the recursion tree is going to be 6. It's going to be, if we subtracted a 1 each time, we're going to have a depth of 6 on this tree. So the bound, upper bound on time is going to be 2 to the n. Is this an exact bound? No, it is not an exact bound. But we can upper bound the time by using that knowledge. We know that it's going to be upper bounded by 2 to the n. And the problem is we're repeating subproblems. So this is where memoization kicks in. So the problem is, I want you to notice, guess what? When I go depth first, I'll have the answer to the 4 subproblem. What happens is this whole subtree. Do you see all this work that we're going to cut out for the 4 subproblem? Let's cut it out right now. Did you just see that? Do you see how huge of a chunk that ate up of our tree? By not following the 4 path, because I already know the answer. The answer is 5 to the 4 subproblem.
I'm Jeff Bishop. I'm the co-founder of RagingBull.com. I'm one of the world's top real money stock option traders.
I literally saved myself all that work because I know the answer. But there's another thing. We know the answer to the 3 subproblem. It's 1 plus 2. It's 3. So why am I doing that? Why am I doing that again? I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to cut this whole subtree out. So let's cut it out right now. So do you see here? Do you see? We just removed. It's amazing how much work you can save by knowing the subproblems you already answered. And again here, we're going to go in a depth first manner. We'll already have the answer for the 1 subproblem. We won't need to solve it here. So let's cut that out right now. When we're here, we're also going to have the answer for a 2 subproblem. We won't need to know the answer for the 2 subproblem down here. Let's cut that out right now. So this 3 subproblem is going to have the answer for the 1 subproblem. It's going to have the answer for the 2 subproblem that it needs. So the thing is, this is roughly how our recursion tree will look like. I'm not totally sure if this is completely right, but I want you to understand what we just did. That was memoization. I can erase this because now we're using memoization. Do you see how many calls we just destroyed? Do you see how much of time we just saved? That is what memoization is about. I'm a huge fan of top-down approach for dynamic programming. I love how intuitive it is, and as long as you memorize it, it's a good way to go about these problems. So now let's look at the bottom-up approach, and the reason it's bottom-up is we start from the bottom and then we work upwards towards the answer. So we're going to see how that table pans out right.
Hello， 同学们，大家好，我是花花。今天我们讲的，然后呢，假设你每次能够爬你每次能够爬1格或2格，爬完一个 n steps 的那个阶梯，其实是一种解，并不是0种解，它其实是一种解，就是不爬。我们可以写出那个表达式啊，就是那个 fi 等于 fi 减1加上 fi 减2，这个和斐波那契形式是一模一样的。但是呢，因为我们要考虑好，就是说它可能下标会越界，所以说我们给那个一些初始值。那我们很清楚知道，最关键的一个初始值就是0。那爬完 0阶楼梯一共有多少种解呢？其实是一种解，并不是0种解，它其实是一种解，就是不爬，那我就完成了。它其实是一种解。同理，爬完那个1阶楼梯的话，它是多少种解呢？它也是一种解，就是因为它只能走1格。那我们有这2个初始值之后呢，我们就可以开始进行我们递推了。递推的话，就是我要从循环因为我这1已经做过了，所以说直接从2开始啊，然后 i 小于等于这个 n， 就是我一共要爬多少阶楼梯，加 i。那我很明显呢，我能发现我这个根据之前的表达式表达形式，我们把这个拷下来。表达形式就是很明确的话，我就是直接写 fi 等于 fi 减1加上 fi 减2。那我这递推就做完了。求解过程也就做完了，最后我返回什么？返回这个 fn， 就是我爬完 n 阶楼梯的解，那这个题就已经做完了。好，那我们来运行一下这个 code。 看时间太长，我们直接提交吧。好，我们直接提交吧。好，这通过了，看一下运行时间。运行时间是0毫秒啊。